Hello and welcome to this channel. Today we will talk about the life of the most popular villain right now, who is known as the Joker. We will review on how and when did this villain appeared in comic books and movie series. And if you are just new to this channel, don't forget to like and subscribe if ever you like this video. And if you're ready, let's start. The Joker is a super villain who shows up in American comic books distributed by DC Comics. The Joker was made by Serge Finger, Jerry Robinson, and Sway Kane, and to begin with showed up within the Make a Big Appearance issue of the comedian book Batman on April 25, 1940. In his comedian book appearances, the Joker is depicted as a criminal mastermind, presented as a psychopath with a warped, twisted sense of humor. The character got to be a silly prankster within the late 1950s, in reaction to the direction by the Comic Code Authority, sometime recently returning to his darker roots amid the early 1970s. The foremost common story includes him falling into a tank of chemical squander that fades his skin white, and turns his hair green and lips shining ruddy. The coming about distortion drives him crazy. The direct opposite of Batman in identity and appearance, the Joker is considered by fault finders to be his culminate enemy. The Joker has no superhuman capacities, instead utilizing his ability in chemical engineering to create harmful or deadly concoction and topical weaponry. Counting razor tip playing cards, dangerous delight buzzers, and acid spraying lapel blossoms. The Joker in some cases works with other Gotham City supervillains, such as the Penguin and the Two-Face, and bunches just like the Treachery Group and Treachery Association. But these connections regularly collapse due to the Joker's wants for unbridled chaos. The 1990s presented a romantic interest for the Joker in his previous therapist, Harley Quinn, who got to be his contemptible sidekick and afterward got in a way an abusive relationship with him, in spite of the fact that this primary obsession is Batman. The Joker has two battled other heroes, counting Superman and Wonder Woman. One of the most iconic characters in popular culture, the Joker has been listed among the greatest comic book villains and fictional characters ever created. The character's popularity has seen him appear in a variety of merchandise, such as clothing and collectible items, inspire real-world structures such as theme park attractions, and be referenced in a number of media. The Joker has been adapted in live-action, animated and video game incarnations, including the 1960s Batman television series, played by Cesar Romero, and in films by Jack Nicholson in Batman 1989, Heath Ledger in Dark Knight 2008, Jared Leto in DC Extended Universe, and Joaquin Phoenix in Joker 2019. Ledger and Phoenix each earned an Academy Award for their portrayals. Mark Hamill and others have provided the character's voice ranging from animation to video games. The Joker's first appearance in Batman #1 on April 1940 as the eponymous character's first villain, about a year after Batman's first appearance in Detective Comics #27 on May 1939. The Joker initially appeared as a remorseless serial killer and jewel thief, modeled after a Joker playing card with a mirthless grin, who killed victims with Joker Venom, a toxin that left their faces smiling monster. The character was intended to be killed in his second appearance in Batman #1, after being stabbed in the heart. The Joker was one of the few popular villains continuing to appear regularly in Batman comics from Golden Age into the Silver Age. As the series continued during the rise in popularity of mystery and romance comics, in 1951, Finger wrote an origin story for the Joker in Detective Comics number 168. Which introduced the characteristics of him, formerly being the criminal Red Hood, and his disfigurement the result of fall into a chemical vat. The character appeared least frequently after 1964, when Julius Quartz, who disliked the Joker, became the editor of the Batman comics. The character risked becoming an obscure figure of the preceding era until this goofy prankster version of the character was adapted into the 1966 television series Batman, in which he was played by Cesar Romero. In 1973, after a 4-year disappearance, the Joker was revived and revised by writer Dennis O'Neil and artist Neil Adams. Beginning with Batman number 251's The Joker's Five-Way Revenge, the character returns to his roots as an impulsive, homicidal maniac who matches wits with Batman. This story began a trend in which the Joker was used sparingly as a central character. O'Neil said his idea was simply to take it back to where it started. This modern era, Joaquin Phoenix's new Joker movie will give a frightening realistic look at the character we've never seen before. In fact, this portrayal of the famed comic book villain is so polarizing that some have said a film like Joker could even be dangerous in today's socio-political climate. But that is just another entry in the long, strange history of the Joker on film and television. There is something about the character that fascinates audience. Just like with James Bond or even Batman himself, it's no small news when an actor signs to play the infamous Dark Knight nemesis. Here are the rankings of the most famous Joker actors in the history and these recent movies, from worst to best. This is based on the popular site that I just recently visited. To really get into his character, method actor Jared Leto decided to go full method with his performance, which meant reportedly sending dead critters, in some reports, condoms to his co-stars. This gross behavior made for a quite bizarre performance, as Leto seemed to be attempting a clown villain that fell somewhere between Heath Ledger's unhanged performance in The Dark Knight and a disgruntled Hot Topic employee, cringy and ridiculous. Leto's Joker is hard to watch at times, and the writing in the Suicide Squad script did not do him any favors either. The recent Fox Warner Bros. TV series was drawn-out prequel to Bruce Wayne's life, Behind the Cowl of Batman. It took about 5 seasons for shows to finally reveal the real Joker of the series, with producers throwing countless misdirections along the way, but by the series finale, we finally had our Joker portrayed by Cameron Monaghan in a startlingly rustic white, mutilated face looking almost like Frankenstein's monster. Monaghan did a fine, although short-lived take on the laughing nemesis. Romero's performance as the Clown Prince of Crime is perhaps the most controversial one on this list, though players like Leto and Ledger both offered increasingly maniacal and revolting portrayals of the Joker. It's Romero's lighter touch that has become something of contentious subject these days. Like the rest of the Batman TV series of 60s, Romero's portrayal is mindless and goofy. Some longtime fans of the franchise still think this is the defining Joker, an oddball who's little scary and a lot weird. Others say it was just too cartoonish. Whether you think Joker should be gritty or silly, no one can deny that Romero host left a huge fingerprint on the enduring legacy of the character. Joaquin Phoenix's interpretation of Joker is truly the character at its most bleak, its most realistic, and its most frightening. In Todd Phillips' Joker, the villain's origin begins as an Arthur Fleck, a poverty-stricken, mentally ill man who is being beaten down by society. He uses this as an excuse to carry out a number of horrible acts that incite violence across Gotham. Phoenix's performance is incredible, from the little tics to the dancing to his pathological laughter, but it feels as if at times, Phoenix is doing too much. This version of the Joker is almost too human, as if he's begging you to sympathize with his character. The role that revitalized Nicholson's career is also one of the actor's all-time greatest performances. Nicholson perfectly balanced the lightness of Romero with the darker roots of the character's 1940s noir origins. Backed by Burton's spooky aesthetic, with a soundtrack that combined both Prince and Danny Elfman, Nicholson's Joker has become a bona fide film legend. Hamill's take on the Joker may not be very well known to casual audience, but for many fans of the Batman, his sharp, cunning, hyena-like voice acting for the character in the Batman animated series is defining the Joker of our time. Paired with Kevin Conroy's performance as Batman, Hamill made for an exquisite Mr. Joker, especially when the animated series introduced the strikingly complex and fascinating character of Harley Quinn, Joker's complicated partner, who's a tragic victim of abuse and cultish mind control. With Quinn at his side, Hamill's Joker became a much wilder force, full of tons of extreme tension and terror. He is always split between his lover and his life as a criminal mastermind. Christopher Nolan brought Batman into the modern era. His Dark Knight trilogy changed the game for no hero, warping the spooky aesthetic of the Burton era into much scarier, much more realistic world, and fitting right into Nolan's surveillance and terrorism. Obsessed Gotham City was perfect embodiment of chaos. Heath Ledger's Joker. Of course, with the brilliant legacy of Heath Ledger's Joker comes the tragic ending that we are still mourning to these days. Ledger died before The Dark Knight ever hit theaters, winning a posthumous Oscar and becoming one of the Hollywood's biggest tragedies. The breadth of his career shows that the actor was capable of staggering dramatic depth. His performance as the Joker is electrifying and its best the character has ever seen.